Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Obviously, those of you who are on the channel and subscribed would have noticed that I haven't dropped a video in quite some time. Basically, I had like a month where I was traveling a bunch. So I went to Turkey. It was like for like a family birthday trip. Then I went to Pakistan for my cousin getting married. And I also, in that time, on one of my weeks of training, I played basketball on a Wednesday, and then I went and played football or soccer, for those of you who are in North America, on a Friday. And my knees were very upset with me. And basically that sent me into a tailspin where my training has been off. I've been training, but barely been able to train legs for the past few weeks. Barely been able to do cardio because of the amount of pain that I was having in my knees. Basically on my left knee, anytime I put weight and pushed off, I would feel like a lot of pain on the lateral rear side of the knee. I suspected a number of things. I thought maybe like it could be a meniscus thing, like I've had meniscus, but lateral meniscus, I feel like without trauma is like difficult to do, like in terms of getting hurt. So that led me to believe that it might be like a popliteus issue, which deals with like tibial rotation, which allows you to like bend your knee. Anyways, doesn't matter. These are the things that I was thinking. My right knee, which is the knee I've had ACL reconstruction surgery on, I was unable to extend. So when I tried to straighten out the knee, it would always have a little bend in it. So I've just not had a great last month. May was not a great month for me. The trips were great. I had a great time with my family, and it was all awesome. But in terms of my health, it was really bad. And obviously, like on the trips, I'm on vacation. I was eating heavy, wasn't working out because of my injuries. And I'm just at a state, I'm better today. But a week ago, when I was finally like, okay, I got to get back on track. I got to get my mind right. I was mentally in a very bad place, and I don't know, like I'm sure people can feel like they have absolute rock bottoms that they experience in their lives. So I don't know if I would say it's an absolute rock bottom, but this is one of my rock bottoms that I've experienced in my life. And I just wanted to get on here and kind of share that experience with you guys, because I do think that it bleeds over into other aspects. Those of you who are here, I'm assuming most of you are here from my main channels. And, you probably would have noticed a drop in activity and just kind of struggling on all ends. And I think when one aspect of your life is just causing you unhappiness, it can bleed over into other things and make it very difficult for you to succeed and to keep pushing and be consistent and persistent and persevere and all the P words. So just mentally, I've been in like not a great place. That being said, I'm doing much better this week. I have a physio who actually still lives in Toronto. If you're in Toronto and you're looking for a good physio, comment down below. I would recommend anybody to go to him. Dr. Alex St. Pierre. And I've been doing virtual appointments with him since I moved to Dubai. That's how much I trust him versus going to like somebody in person. Now the downside of that is I'm not getting some of the hands-on physical treatment that I could get from a physio. But he's helping me guide through like doing some self-treatment, and then giving me a lot of awesome stuff to just get me back. All of that to say, that was last week. I was miserable. I could barely train. And yesterday, so this is like in a week's time, I went and I played basketball, and I was actually able to play hard. I'll put in like I think it's like a 17-second little clip from last night. It's really cool, this pickup run that we do. The competition's pretty moderate, so it's a good place for me to get back in shape, but they try to get quite a lot of recordings of the pickup runs. It's like a 2-hour pickup run, and then the guy who organizes it actually cuts it up and then shares like clips of the games, like as highlights. So that's a pretty cool part of it. So I'll share that right now so you guys can see I was actually able to play pain-free last night, and I was pain-free today. I'd say like 90% pain-free. Like miraculous type of stuff. So I think that immediately increased my mood, improved my mood. I did, however, was this last week? I'm just going to check if the date's here. Yeah, so this would have been maybe 10 days ago. I did an in-body scan. I have the paper, the hard copy here, but I also have a digital copy, which I'll show you guys right now. So I thought that we could go over this together, because actually, before I go into this, I want to share that, you know, my second son is going to be born. The expected date is September 6th. And I want to be in a better place for when we're going to have 2 little babies in our house. And so what I want to do is I'm going to challenge myself. My challenge to myself is that I want to lose 30 pounds. Today is June 6th. So from June 6th to September 6th, I want to challenge myself to lose 30 pounds in preparation for my second son coming home. And it's going to be tough. Like, losing 30 pounds in 3 months is tough. But I'm at the place where I feel like if I don't do the hard thing and I don't push myself, it's never going to happen. Now, I share that with you guys that maybe we could do this like as a cool community thing. If any of you are finding yourself in a place where you're struggling with your weight, you're not feeling good about it, you're not feeling good about yourself, and that's really what it comes down to. You know, like, whatever your weight is, if you feel good about yourself and you feel healthy, that's what matters. Who gives a crap what's on the scale or whatever? It has to be about how you feel. And for me, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about how I look. I don't feel good, like actually physically feel good. My breathing is affected, my everything. Playing with my son, I struggle with that sometimes, and that really makes me upset. So I want to extend this to you guys. I'm going to come up with a fancy name for it. I don't have it at the moment, but if I come up with it, I'll probably edit it in right after this. So we'll come up with a name for it. But let's go with, you know, for now, summer weight loss challenge. That's not what we'll call it, but that's what we'll call it for now. And if you guys want to join me on this journey and see if we can get in shape before Z's second baby arrives, I would love to have you on the journey with me. And, you know, we can support each other and help each other. So that's my goal. I want to show you guys where I'm at so that we can figure out how much work we have to do. So let me switch the screen right here. So this is my in-body scan. Now, disclaimer, first of all, I am not sponsored by InBody. This is just the tool that I use, so I'm sharing that. A lot of people will talk about these tools and ask about their accuracy. So the disclaimer I want to mention is that these machines may not be like purely accurate, like objectively or scientifically accurate to your exact numbers, but they can be accurate to themselves. Okay, and that's where it's important. So if I use this same machine and I try to use it on, you know, like the same day in the week, under the same conditions, so the same time of day, have I eaten, I haven't eaten, have I used the bathroom, as many of the variables that you can keep consistent, the results compared to each other will be accurate, right? So I can see the change from scan to scan. Now again, it won't like objectively or scientifically be accurate, so whatever this says my body fat percentage is may not be my actual body fat percentage, but in terms of just tracking progress, it's going to be a great tool for me. And this is offered for free at my gym, so I'm really grateful for that. I can use this. I'll probably plan on using this maybe every 2 weeks, just so I can kind of keep track, and then use just a regular scale, obviously more regularly than that. But as we're taking a look here, there's a number of things that it's going to talk about: total body water, protein, mineral, body fat mass, weight, all of that. We're actually going to go down lower because we want to talk about some of these numbers here. Now, this thinks that my target weight should be 116. I don't have my quick math right now for what that would be. What is that? 116, 230, 260 pounds. Yeah, I mean, that would actually be a pretty good weight, but not in 3 months, right? So I do think that I could benefit from losing this amount, but right now we're going to aim to lose maybe like, 2/3 of that. Okay. So just so you guys know, my current weight, it showed up at 139.6. This is about 300, I think like 310 or 312, somewhere in that range. It's pretty heavy. 312, I think. 312 pounds. And I want to lose 30 pounds. I want to come down. If I can be at 280 pounds as a starting point, like as a first weight loss, I would be very happy with that. But like the cool thing about this is that we can kind of see some of the breakdowns. Now, I do want to mention anybody who's looking at this and they're kind of like wondering about themselves. When we look at these metrics, when you're looking at BMI, if you're a person that even remotely does any sort of resistance training, this is a completely useless metric, because this is just going to say body mass, and it's not making the discernment between what type of mass we're talking about, whether it's muscle or fat. So a person who's 6'2", 250 pounds, and let's say 10% body fat versus a person who's 6'2", 250 pounds and 30% body fat, their BMI is going to show up as the same, and they're both going to be written down as like obese, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. Don't put too much weight on this if you're somebody who does training. Typically we want to see like body composition, and that's where some of this can be helpful. So we look at the total weight, 139.6 kg. It believes that my muscle mass, skeletal muscle mass, is 57.7 kg. Again, these are not going to be, scientifically accurate, objectively accurate. This is just for me to track like how much muscle am I losing as I go on. So that's really what I'm looking for. And then the body fat mass is 41 kilos. That's a lot. It's way more than I want to have. And if we kind of look down here, again, the BMI is just going to be inaccurate for what we're trying to do. But when we look at the body fat percentage, 29.4. So I'm just under 30%, and that's very high. To be honest, like I think just to be in a healthier, happier place, I would really like to be in the high teens to 20. So if I'm like 17 to 20%, I think historically that's been a good place for me, where I'm not like going too crazy on my diet and like avoiding all the pleasures of life. But I'm also in a place where like, I'm feeling good, moving well, breathing well, all of that stuff. So the rest of this stuff is not that important. Again, I'm not like putting too much weight on these things, no pun intended. But it's cool to know. It's also going to spit out some stuff here where it says that it thinks that my recommended calorie intake should be just around 3,500. It's estimating that my base metabolic rate is 2,500. I'm not sure about that. I think it kind of depends. One of the things that this can't do that well is track, my activity level, because it's just going to look at my muscle mass and my fat. My activity level is fairly high, but I just eat way too much food. So You know, that's something that we'll talk about in a minute about what the plan is. But this is a cool little thing that it spits out too, just showing you kind of 30 minutes of exercise doing these different activities, how many calories we can expect to burn. So I love playing basketball. You can see that's one of the middle to high options for calorie burn in a 30-minute session. I play for 2 hours. This says 419. My Whoop, which is what I use to track my workouts, estimates when I play basketball that I'm burning about 12 to 1500 calories. So if we go 419 times 4 for a 2-hour session, yeah, like it's going to be fairly accurate, right? Yeah, so that's kind of my body breakdown right now. I wanted to do something else before we go over the game plan. Now, this is a game plan very specific to me, but if you take kind of the principles that I'm applying, you can kind of see progress as well. And I'll kind of explain like how I'm not going super crazy strict on like tracking every macronutrient at the moment. And I'll explain why I'm not doing it that way. I'll explain what my training is going to look like. And again, you can kind of just take some of those principles and make these changes for yourself. But I wanted to kind of, you know, I've been really avoiding taking like pictures and videos of myself because I don't like what I see in terms of like shirts off. But you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to take it seriously. I want to be able to compare. Wow, I'm having a lot of trouble with the white balance, so it probably looks crazy right now. I should probably change that and not do auto white balance anymore. But anyways, that's for another time. So I'm going to do a body reveal right now. I'll take my shirt off, do a little spin, and kind of just pause for a second so that we can see where we're at today. And then I would love to kind of treat this like my weight loss diary, which is what the plan for the channel was initially anyways, plus like a family vlog. But just with everything going on, I've been super inconsistent. So I want to try to get back to consistency. I would also love to share like some workout tips with you guys. So I plan on doing some videos that can show you some exercises and versions of the exercises you could do depending on what equipment you have. Seeing as that this has been my profession for the last 8 years, training people, I thought it could be cool for me to share that knowledge with you guys in case it's something that you're looking for. So this has turned out to be a much longer video than I expected, but that's what happens sometimes when you're like therapying to a camera to strangers on the internet. I'll make sure I put chapters down so you can skip through the video to where you actually want to watch. But yeah, let's do the body reveal right now. Okay, so this is where we're at. Turn sideways. As you can see, you guys probably have never seen that. It's pretty good, huh? Just gonna put my shirt back on. So yeah, that was scary, but you know what? It's fine. You guys are awesome people, and you're not going to be mean to me. But even if you are, I'll just use it as fuel for the fire. So as you guys can see, like I have a decent amount of muscle mass. I've been training for a long time. You know what I'm also going to do is I'll plug in a picture of myself in what I call my peak physical, form. Which was when I was courting my wife, obviously before she was my wife. And I always make the joke that I catfished her because I obviously no longer look like that. So let's see if I can get back to that for her, because it's not fair to her. hopefully you guys are seeing that picture so you can see what she thought she was, hooking up with and what she's ended up with. But yeah, let's talk about the game plan. And again, feel free to cut out anytime you want, but we'll just talk about what my game plan is. Now, when it comes to the diet, I do believe that when I'm getting to like the fine tuning of stuff, so when I finish losing this first, 30 pounds, and then I'm looking to lose that next 20 to 30 pounds, where I have to kind of step things up a little bit, that's where I really want to introduce the tracking and the macronutrients. I find that when I go straight to that, and this is just a personal thing, for some people, going straight to the tracking is the right thing to do. For some people, it's too much and it can derail them. And that's just how it is. Like, we have different personalities, we have different things that are going to work for those personalities. And for me, if in this beginning stage, when I'm just coming out of this fragile, broken, rock bottom state, I need it to be easier to access. So what am I doing with my diet? Well, I don't believe in starting with like an exclusion diet. And typically, you're going to find that a lot of science, I think from what I've got my, finger on the pulse with, is going to say that exclusion diets are not really necessary, but they kind of just become the thing that happens because when you go into calorie restriction, so if you have like only 2,000 calories that you can eat in a day, and you're looking at your options and it's like, well, I could eat this bag of potato chips that's 1,600 calories, but then I'll be hungry in an hour, versus I could eat, this bowl of rice with chicken and, sauce and whatever, and that's like 1,000 calories and I'll be hungry in like several hours, versus I could eat like a bunch of greens, maybe swap out the rice for like, a rice noodle or vermicelli or whatever, and so on and so forth. And what happens is you start to realize that it's not about you're not allowed to eat those foods. It's that when you eat those foods, you take up a bigger chunk of your calorie allotment. And then when you're really thinking about the scheme of your day and you're like, man, I'm really hungry when I eat like that, you're not going to want to make those choices. You will naturally choose diet foods. I hate that term. Just because you can eat more of them and feel more satiated than the stuff that's not going to keep you as satiated, because it's just, more calorie dense. So what I like to do when I'm starting, because I'm not going to be tracking, is I like to still eat all the same stuff, right? But when I'm looking at my bowl, right, I usually pile it, past the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pile it till it's level, right, with the top of the bowl. And it's literally that simple. Like if I eat, 2 pieces of bread, typically I might drop that to, 1 or 1.5. If I'm having like serving myself like 4 serving spoons of rice, I'll drop that to, 3 or 2.5. And I just start with that. It's simple, because I typically am eating the same type of stuff, and I'm eyeballing it, and it'll just start me on the habit of eating less. Okay. Now again, at some point when you're really trying to, lose the last bit or get into like some more serious weight loss, it's going to require more optimization, and then you're just going to be better off with tracking. Okay. So at some point I do think that is necessary. But to start, that is how I'm going to be starting. Just looking at the portions that I currently eat. And one of the ways you can do that is on your first week, don't change anything. Just observe what you're eating. And one of the things you can do, we all have one of these, right? You could take a picture of your plate, not to post it. I mean, if you want to post it, cool. But you could take a picture of your food that week. And with the next week, when you serve yourself, just open up the picture and look at how full the plate looks and just fill it up less, right? This is a very simple way to do it. And for those of us that don't want to do the scales, don't want to do that, if that is a hurdle or an obstacle for you, cool. Like, let's do something that's easier to do, okay? So that's going to be on the food side. Now, within that, naturally, because I do understand that if I'm having the more fat-rich, high sugar foods, they're going to be more calorie dense. I am trying to reduce those a little bit more than everything else. So I want to be more selective about when I have dessert, because, I just know that it's going to it's not going to keep me full, and it's going to take up a lot more of my calorie allotment. I want to eat less of my chip snacks, so if I usually have like a whole bag, maybe I have half. Just same principles, but do a stricter drop on the more calorie dense foods. Next, how to work out, right? Now, I've been doing, weightlifting. I don't know if you would categorize it as bodybuilding. I just train to try to maintain a lot of the muscle mass that I've gained. I train to maintain a lot of the strength that I've gained. Now, when you're going to go for weight loss, you're going to lose some of that. It's just naturally what's going to happen. But what I want to do is I want to keep the resistance training at the forefront of what I'm doing, and then increase kind of my daily activity level. Now, one of the ways to do that is to walk more, right? This is a really great way to do it. A lot of people think they got to go and do like high intensity and start running and, take, jiu-jitsu classes and do all that stuff. And all of those things are great. They would work. But if you're looking to, increase that activity level with something that you can sustain, that's not going to drain the crap out of you, but still kind of increase the amount of calories you're burning, and be low impact and low wear and tear on your body, walking is one of the best things you can do to increase that daily burn. Okay, so that's one of the things that I intend on doing, is increasing my daily activity level by just being on my feet more, walking more. Obviously, like when I'm in the gym, I do like to do some dedicated cardio. I like the Stairmaster because I really do want to try to keep my legs strong, especially with all of my knee issues. I want to keep training them so that they're strong enough to push me through those issues. I also like the elliptical over running on the treadmill because elliptical or bike, because they're low impact, right? So they're kind of just moving on a track, and you're not getting that hard impact. So when I am in the gym and I do dedicated cardio, I'm doing one of those things. And yeah, basketball, because I love playing basketball and I want it to be something that I can keep doing moving into the future. So right now it's like once a week. I want to try to keep that up and do something that makes me happy. Now that's very high impact, which is why I'm trying to choose low impact things with my other cardio, because that's something that I really love. It makes me happy to play that. So that's a bit of a trade-off, right? Now, if I was just looking at this as like, I need to maintain my knees and I need to keep it low impact, basketball would not be a great choice because there's running, cutting, jumping. It's a lot of impact, but it brings me joy, right? Except for when like I'm in so much pain, so afterwards I'm not, but I'm doing things to deal with that and make my knees better. So that's the game plan for training. If you're somebody who doesn't work out at all, if you just start by adding a 15 to 20 minute walk, 3 times a week, once you're comfortable with that, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, that's 15 to 20 minutes of extra calories being burned from activity that you weren't doing before. You are going to see a difference, okay? And you can literally start with things that simple. If you're already going to the gym, keep going to the gym. But again, you can add like a 10 to 15 minute walk, again, 3 times, 4 times. These are just ways for us to increase the amount of calories that we're going to be burning. So on one end, we're reducing the calories in by reducing our portions a little bit. And on the other end, we're increasing our calories out by increasing our daily activity a little bit. And it's very simple. You do these two things, you create a bigger deficit by doing that, and that bigger deficit is what's going to help us start losing weight. That's about as simple as I think I can make it, because I'm not very intelligent, and I think people who are more intelligent than me could probably make it even simpler than that. But you probably already know those people. And that's my plan. That's my plan. And if you're somebody who's in a similar boat to me and you're looking to make a change and you want to join me, if you just follow some of these principles that I've talked about, so increasing your daily activity, lowering your portions, right? We don't have to say you can't eat this, you can't eat that. Just eat those things, but just start eating a little less and see what happens, right? Now, a couple things that we haven't talked about, these are just a little bit more, dependent on what's possible with like your lifestyle and work, and some people are just doing crazy things. Sleep is extremely important. Now, I save this for the end because my sleep is terrible. It's 11 right now. I'm at the start of my recording session. I'm going to be here till like probably 2 or 3 in the morning doing my online content stuff. And I do that because in the day I have to do my job stuff and my family stuff. And it's just the way that things work out for me. So the way I get my sleep is I get like a few hours at night, and then I take a nap in the middle of the day for a few hours. And that's how I do it. Now, it's not the best, and it's going to affect my recovery. But sometimes it's just a matter of like what realistically can be done. And sometimes realistic is not optimal, right? So take that in mind and be kind to yourself. You can only do what you're able to do. Like, it's literally that simple, right? And that's it. September 6th, that's the due date. That doesn't mean that that's exactly when the baby's going to come. Those of you who had babies knows that it's going to be a little bit unpredictable. But we have until around that time to see what we can do. I really want to push hard. Since this was like 10 days ago, I will be doing another one on Monday, because that'll be a 2-week difference. And then I would love to do a video kind of just seeing, has there been any change in my first 2 weeks? Has there not? I have a feeling that there's going to maybe be only a slightly change. That was the worst English I've ever spoken. I have a feeling there's only going to be a slight change because I lost a lot of last week with my knee injury, and like my activity level was not great. But you know what? Like, I feel like this week has been pretty good. I have 2 more strong sessions planned for this week. So tomorrow night I'm hitting a heavy, they're always going to be somewhat heavy, but I'm hitting a big session, and then Saturday morning I have a big session, and then Sunday rest. So I'm primed for being in a good place to, have my weigh in on Monday. And I'm excited to see what progress, if any, we've made in the first 2 weeks. So this is a big video for me, guys. I revealed my body to you. I've been very, I've just had very low self-esteem when it comes to that. And again, when you saw my picture from before, you'll understand why. I think when I look at myself in the mirror and I don't see anything even resembling what I used to look like, it's very difficult for me, and I struggle with that. So I'm excited for this. I want to get healthy for myself, for my mental, for all of that. But I also want to get healthy for my family. I want to be here for as long a time as possible. And there's a lot of things in life that we can't control, but there are certain things that we can. And this is one of those things that we can, and I want to control it as best I can, so to give myself the best chance to be here for my family. I know that sounds morbid, but it's the truth, Here I am bearing my soul. I don't know if anyone's going to watch this, but if you are, I appreciate you, giving me your ear. If you are still here, I appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.